in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Talks from the Dark Side, the show where we go through the entirety of the classic anthology series Tales from the Dark Side from the 80s. I'm here myself, Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor Harumph McGraw.
And I'm Chris Bahr.
And today we have the official second episode, which is I'll Give You a Million, with the original air date of October 7th, 1984, directed by John Harrison, fellas. John Harrison is the composer of Creepshow. We've talked about him over the past couple episodes if you've been tuning in and listening. We go way in depth in that first episode. Again, we're only 3 episodes in on this, so make sure you get caught up. We got Trick or Treat, that first one. We got The New Man, the second one, and this is the third one, of course. But John Harrison was the composer for Creepshow, and a lot of the music for the Tales from the Dark Side series. And again, I think we even discussed it on that first episode too, that he directed a lot of the episodes, and I believe this is the first one that he directs.
Yeah, this is his first directing role, and you can definitely tell it's John Harrison just by the music in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because the soundtrack here is like one of the best ones.
Yeah, the woo-wee-woo.
Yeah. You definitely hear some Creepshow, Day of the Dead in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was distracted by all the kerfuffle that these two old men were making the entire time.
It's easy to get lost in the kerfuffle.
Yes.
Sean, you want to do the honors on this one? Plot crunch?
Yeah. So, 2 white asshole old men, rich bastards. Basically, these like Marley and Jacob, or the 2 old men from the Muppets.
Statler and Waldorf, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the best way to describe these guys.
Oh my god, they look like them too.
They kind of do, right? They basically are kind of always competing with money because they're rich as fuck. And they come down to this agreement that one of them is going to buy the other's soul, and then there are consequences due to that.
Yeah, he'll give him $1 million TM for that. Yeah,
and then he'll want 2 more.
So we get introduced to these 2 old rich motherfuckers, and not rich, wealthy motherfuckers.
Yeah, these guys are ritzy, okay?
This is like Baby's Day Out all over again, but old people.
We are talking like they just leisurely play pool with each other and bet like thousands of dollars per shot kind of shit.
Also, the opening shot of the episode, they're sipping cognac in the back of a limo.
Yeah.
That's just right off the bat. That's the first shot.
Straight up. We're introduced to Duncan Williams and Jack Blaine. Duncan's played by Keenan Wynn. I know him as the Winter Warlock.
Oh my God! Put one foot in front of the other.
From Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Oh yeah. With our friend Mickey Rooney,
yes. Black
and blue on the floor somewhere.
Funny thing about that, Keenan Wynn is also in Orca that we covered. He plays the guy who gets eaten off the fucking
oh my God! It's
side
all
of the
coming
boat.
Together.
Yeah. And Mickey Rooney, of course, was in that Silent Night, Deadly Night 5 episode, so go check those out.
Yeah, like I said, black and blue on the floor.
Oh, yeah, right in the regular movie dumpster feed, you'll find him there. But yeah, and then George Petrie is playing Jack Blaine. I don't really know what else he's in. I saw that he was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and he was like a big radio actor, and he's like a classic actor. Nothing that I've seen or notable to me personally.
And they're both in Dallas. Going through the IMDb's of these guys, it's like, yeah, they both were in Dallas.
Oh, there you go.
Is it a stress these guys are plantation owners?
You know what? It's actually like you never find out what they actually do. They just have money. That's it.
Money, yeah.
Old money, new money, all kinds of money.
They probably have fucking roots in the plantation business, if you know what I'm saying.
Probably. It's probably their wealth probably comes from is those fucking ancestors.
Yeah, most of the people in fucking America's wealth comes from that old money, and that's what we're talking about. So yeah, these 2 rich motherfuckers are in their limousine sipping that cognac, and they're talking about, Jack proposes this new business venture that he wants to do, and Keenan Wynn is like, he's like, oh, what, you little homicide, or little sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or whatever, or what?
Doesn't he ask him straight up? He's like, have you ever killed anyone? And he's like,
I think they both have killed people.
Pedestrian, my dear boy.
Yeah, what about your ex-partner? And the guy just kind of looks away.
Right. And he mentions it. Duncan mentions it to him a few times throughout, and the guy always like just stares into the fucking distance like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, you have a hard time telling like who's the worst out of the two of these guys.
Yes, which I kind of love.
He refers to them as two scorpions in a jar, which I kind of love.
Yep.
But yeah, so Duncan's like, no, I don't want to do that proposition, but I have a proposition for you. So why don't you come over Friday night where we drink cognac and play pool for $1,000 a shot or whatever, and I'll tell it to you because it's a surprise. And he does.
Yeah, Blaine's like, I don't like surprises, but all right, I'll be there. And they're sitting there playing pool, fucking wearing tuxedos. They got the music playing.
They're dressed like the Monopoly guy in their downtime.
And again, like we're playing, like just to give you an idea of how, like when we say wealthy, like these guys are playing just like nonchalantly, like 3,000, you don't make that shot, and of course Duncan makes it, and he just fucking Jack just like pulls out $3,000 and throws it on a fucking gold platter that's sitting next to the fucking pool table.
And this happens like 3-4 more times.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, double or nothing on the next one. It's like, shit.
So Duncan finally reveals his game that he's playing at, and he's like, okay, Jack, how about I give you $1 million for your eternal soul? And Jack's like, what the fuck are you on about? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're going to give me $1 million for a soul? Like a soul? That's some bullshit. I haven't thought about a soul since Sunday school. And Duncan's like, oh, I'm talking about $1 million and you're talking about fucking Sunday school. Listen, if it doesn't mean anything to you and the soul doesn't exist, let's do it. Let me buy it from you.
I got a buyer. His name's Sung.
You beat me to that joke. I was saving it. Glad we're on the same page.
Then Blaine is like, well, I've always been an atheist. That stuff's just bullshit. I'm not afraid to do it.
Yeah, then he says something about, this wouldn't be the first time that you've made a dispute on fake property. What was it?
Right. Like, how could you make these guys any scummier? Up there you go.
Yeah, he says this wouldn't be the first time you made a profit on non-existent properties.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's little intermittent parts where Jack is taking pills, and he ends up you end up finding out that he has a problem with his liver, like his liver's like shot. And he's like, fine, Duncan, I'll take your fucking deal, like we'll hook up Friday and I'll sign the papers. So Friday comes, and Jack comes over, and he's looking pale as a fucking ghost. You're kind of not sure what's happening yet, but I guess he's just not feeling well.
When your liver's shot, you drink that much, you're not going to feel too good.
Well, that too, yeah. So Duncan reads him the fucking contract, and he's basically... There's a couple things here. So he basically says that, like, if Jack dies before he gets his soul, or before he's... What the fuck is it? I guess what you need to know is the fact that, like, if Duncan dies before Jack gives him his soul, he forfeits... The contract becomes null and void. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, and then the souls become... His soul doesn't go over to Duncan.
Yeah.
And he has like a weird caveat in there to avoid being murdered, where it's like, oh, if I die prior to, like, if it's foul play, like, you don't get the money back.
Right.
He's definitely kind of crossing all the... the boxes there just to kind of make sure it's like an airtight contract.
Mm-hmm. Because his whole game is like, he's going to get his money back by being a fucking shyster. You know what I mean? He just has this sick game that he's kind of playing with Jack. Because the whole reason he makes this fucking deal, or wants to make this deal with him, is because he's like, he's done everything, right? Like, he's done all the shittiest things you could probably think of, and he's just like, oh, you know what? Here we go. I'll buy your fucking soul for $1 million, because this is hilarious.
What is there left to do after I annihilated the black rhinoceros?
Well, it's like that thing I have to imagine where it's like, even though these guys are chummy, like, they probably were always rivals in whatever industry they worked in, because they kind of give off that greedy vibe that they would never actually be like truly would truly have a friendship. It's more of just like, yeah, they drink and they play pool together, but they are always keeping one hand behind their back with a knife grasped in it and one eye open, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, they would stab each other in the back in a second.
Yeah, and Duncan has to know about Jack's, liver going. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm sure that kind of helped out his little idea.
Well, he keeps saying, like, oh, you want another drink? You want another drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably his fault.
Yeah, probably. He's been facilitating his liver disease.
He just gets impatient, walks up and just punches him in the stomach.
Come on, Jack. I'm going to get that million back.
There's a lot of layers here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like an onion.
Yeah. And now there's a lot of subtleties going on. We'll get to that, though, in our final thoughts. But, so Jack leaves. He signs the fucking contract and bounces. They have a fucking drink, even though his liver is shot to shit. And then we cut to like a couple days later, I guess. And fucking Duncan's out in his little sun hat, fucking planting his flowers. And Jack comes up and he's like, hey, listen, I went to see my doctor today and he's gave me like a month to live. So can we just like forget about this bullshit contract with this $1 million? Because like I have to sort this shit out with my lawyer or whatever. And like it would just make it easier if we just forgot the whole thing. And Duncan's like, absolutely not. He's like, I paid good money for that soul. And he's like, just fucking take the money back. He's like, fuck that. He's like, I'm loving this shit.
He's not even looking at him as he's talking to him.
No.
He's just like planting flowers.
Yeah, he doesn't get off his fucking knees the entire time. The guy's standing there sweating his fucking balls off. He's so scared.
This is what life's all about.
Getting your
rolling
hands
up your
dirty.
sleeves and putting your hands in the dirt.
And he's like, whatever. He's like, I know you're going to die. And I think that's how he's going to get the money back. Like, if Jack dies, I feel like there's something in the contract that transfers that $1 million back to him.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. He has this whole scheme that we don't find out about it quite yet, but you find out that he was just trying to get this guy sweat so badly that he would basically pay him to take it back.
Oh, right.
And that's what the telegram is all about. He gets the next morning.
Well, yeah.
Because he's like, he gets the telegram and his assistant or his butler or whatever comes in and is like, oh yeah, Blaine's willing to buy it back and give you the money back. So he's like, well, does that mean I'm getting $2 million?
Jack really is crazy. Yeah, his butler comes in. He's like, a telegram for you, sir. Chang is dead. Stop. Shang Tsung wants your soul. Stop. Sorry, I had to get that in there. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, Jack is offering Duncan another $1 million in addition to the $1 million that he gave him already for his soul, to give him that fucking, to just, forget about the contract, rip it up.
And Duncan basically is like, yep, my plan came to fruition perfectly. That's what I always wanted.
Easiest million I ever made.
Yeah. Because that was the other line. That's what Blaine kept saying, too. He's like, easiest million I ever made.
And he's fucking licking his lips and shit. He's just, like, relishing in this because he's getting off on this. Like, he likes... again, like, this is turning his crank that he's got power over this guy, like, psychologically, I guess. And financially, I guess, at the same time. Anyway.
Yeah, he might as well just be, like, twirling a mustache.
Well, he's got that big handlebar, dude.
Yeah.
He's twirling it while he's cranking it.
On the contract. What is this splatter here, Duncan?
He's using the contract.
Why is it all sticky? I don't know.
Harum, don't ask questions.
Shut up.
Richards, get in here.
I'm jonesing for a chick parm.
So that night, like, he doesn't have time to really follow through yet. He's still kind of lapping it in. And, he starts to have some weird shit happen in his house.
Oh, here we go. This is where the spook kicks up, yeah. I love this. This is so simple. Again, okay, hold on. Let me preface this. He gives his butler the night off. It's because it's like his night off. So
how generous.
Yeah, right.
What a nice guy.
It's Thursday, sir. I'm going to go, take my night off or whatever.
And he's like, yeah, whatever, get out of here. It's already like fucking 9 at night. Like, like you didn't even have a day off. You had a couple hours off.
He's going home, having a Stouffer's, and getting in bed.
Getting a hooker, yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe. This guy seems like a Scrooge-type character, so I don't think he can afford a hooker.
Watching Jeopardy, eating the Stouffer's.
I'm rewarding your years of service with getting off the clock 15 minutes early.
Yeah, there you go. He fucking stole a bottle of the good shit from the old man, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to have this drink tonight.
Like Millhouse's dad.
Yeah.
So this is such a simple gag, but I love it. Like, the wind's blowing through the window, and he's like, "Oh, God damn it, Jeffrey!" He's like, "You left the fucking windows open," and he goes over and it's closed. So it wasn't even open to begin with, and it was like all the fucking curtains were blown all over the place, and he's like, "Huh, that's weird." Now, right there, now he's a stubborn old fuck, but right there is where I'd be like, okay, something is really wrong, you know?
Right. It also, the way it blows all these papers off his desk, like the contract lands on the top, and he's like, huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is somehow connected.
I do like a lot, and this will continue as we continue talking about this, how, again, it kind of flip-flops back and forth. You're not really sure who is the protagonist, the antagonist, because they're rich old assholes. So it's like, at the end of the day, they both suck, but it's like, okay, who is the actual victim here?
They kind of shift fully to Duncan by this point.
Right. But it might change again.
So yeah, the phone's out, the lights go out, there's a bunch of glass breaking in downstairs and shit. And then Duncan gets a phone call, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" He's like, "This phone wasn't working a second ago." And he's like, "Who is this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's me, Jenny. I'm Jack's housekeeper or whatever, and he died this morning." And he's like, "What? What do you mean he died?" He's like, "He's fucking dead. Sorry."
His liver was fucked.
His whole body was ridden with cancer. He's gone.
It is kind of hilarious to me, though, while this woman's pouring out her heart. He's like, "That son of a bitch cheated me out of my money."
Oh, that's so great, because she's like, "Oh, the night's full of demons, sir. Oh, it's such a horrible day. I don't know. Didn't have time to make arrangements or whatever." He's getting cremated at 3 o'clock, and he's like, "That son of a bitch took my fucking $1 million."
That fuck, he checked out early. Sinatra, that fuck.
He gave me the huckle fuck.
Sinatra, that fuck, he checked out early. Owed me 20,000.
He had nothing to do with the Hucklebuck. Jerky Boys, everybody, go listen to it. It's fucking hilarious.
I was wondering.
Oh my goodness. That's a great bit. Go check that out. The fucking Frank Sinatra and the Hucklebuck with Johnny Brennan. Anyway.
So then Duncan starts hearing this commotion downstairs, and he loses connection with the phone. And he thinks, "Oh, there's people in the house. Call 911.
Jenny, there's prowlers in the house. Get the cops over here."
And then he's like, "Oh, Jenny, oh, this phone doesn't work." So then he kind of scampers over to his door and tries to put his ear to it to listen.
Maybe it is Frank Sinatra downstairs breaking all his shit, throwing all his shit around.
Yeah, old Blue Eyes had a little too much to drink again.
He sure. Well, that was Dino. Dino's the fucking heavy drinker.
And this whole part here, again, bridging the gap between Tales from the Darkside and Creepshow, with John Harrison as well. This whole segment here definitely has the same vibes as the Leslie Nielsen segment in Creepshow.
Yes, very. So Duncan goes downstairs, and he thinks somebody, there's a prowler in the house, and so he has a gun and stuff. And Jack fucking knocks on his door, and he's a fucking zombie, and he's like
falling apart.
He's got fucking skin flaps hanging off his face and shit. And he's got this little platter with
a birthday cake?
Yes, he got his cake.
His Happy Father's Day cake. Excuse me.
It's like the same shot, yeah.
And then he went, "Ebenezer!"
Yeah, he's got chains around it. No, he doesn't have chains, but he might as well be fucking Jacob Marley.
Yeah, cake, chains, and a soul in a jar. On a golden plate, by the way. I think that was supposed to be the golden plate he was throwing the cash on during the fucking pool game.
It might be, but it's his soul in a glass cylinder with a little lock on it. And it's cool the way they did this, because it's just a fucking light inside with some dry ice, but it looks great.
And it's green.
Yeah, it's supposed to be his soul in the jar, and he's basically just like, "Duncan, take my soul before he gets it." And Duncan's like, "You're a fucking zombie. Get out of my house."
Yeah, start shooting him. Get out of here, you zombie.
You rat bastard, you died before it was over.
He got my money. Dude, there's a part in this. So he goes upstairs, and fucking Jack follows him again. He's like, "Take my soul, take my soul." And Keenan Wynn's acting here is so fucking good, because he starts crying because he's so scared.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Just get out of here." And it's just, I don't know. I thought that was it was really great acting. Anyway.
But this is also where it kind of flips again, because now it's the whole time it's wait a second. This guy bought the soul, but now the zombies like take the soul before he gets the soul, and I'm assuming it's the devil or something is what the guy's referring to, and it's kind of just like crazy how it's just constantly flipping and flipping and flipping. I just really like that about this episode.
Totally, and that's the other part of the contract. So when he says that when Jack dies, he gets possession of Jack's soul. Duncan gets possession of his soul. What Jack is trying to do is give him the soul so that he has possession of it. Because he's like, oh, it's possession's 9/10 of the law or whatever.
That's exactly what he says.
Jack's realizing he's going to hell unless Duncan takes his soul.
I'd rather have this smelly old man have my soul than the fucking switch himself.
Speaking of, well, first, Duncan, he loses it. He can't take it anymore, and his heart gives out.
Oh, man, this motherfucker has a heart attack and dies. And this is the first iteration it's the second iteration of the devil we get in Tales from the Darkside. I absolutely fucking love this rendition of the devil because he's like this like suave gothic fucking debonair dude that like smells like this rose and shit, and he's got this crazy effect on his voice that makes it like echo, almost like if y'all ever seen the Powerpuff Girls.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Him.
And him, who is the devil in that series, but it has the same kind of echo on it. It's creepy as fuck, man. It's very, like, disturbing.
And didn't him like roses also?
He may have.
So I wonder, I mean, I have no evidence of this. I didn't research this at all. I wonder if he was based on this iteration at all.
He could be.
Let's go with yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
It's canon.
In the MDU, at least. Maybe not outside of the MDU, but I'll take it.
But it's really cool, and it's just, I don't know, there's just something about it that's just super creepy, and again, it's like made for TV, but it's still super effective. Anyway, first he takes Duncan's soul. he fucking finishes him and like puts his hands on his chest and sucks it out.
Him wins. Fatality.
I love what the devil's talking about here because, like, throughout the whole episode, it's been all this legality shit with the contract and who owns what and how to get the money back and who forfeits the money and all that kind of shit. And the devil's like, "Yeah, I'm something of a businessman myself," and he's like, "Oh, Duncan must have known I had liens on this fucking property," and he's like, "His debts are too numerous to count, and I came to collect." And so he takes his fucking soul, and then he looks at Jack, and Jack's like, "Oh, fuck." And he goes and
It's like, well, it says here, right in this contract.
This was cool, too. Like, it's just flash paper, but it's cool the way, like...
Oh, yeah, this effect.
Yeah, it like, burns it, and it, like, just, disappears into the atmosphere, which is cool.
He's like, possession is 9/10 the law, or so you said.
According to you, Mr. Jack. And he fucking takes Jack's soul and just fucking bounces.
Yeah, he burned Freddy's back into his chest.
And then Jack just fades.
He's eternity in fucking hell.
I'm gonna be tortured forever for murdering my business partner. Oh no.
Him and Duncan are gonna be forced to fucking fuck each other and stab each other in the eyes for the rest of eternity.
Isn't Christianity great?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So yeah, it ends with the fucking devil like straight up like Freddying this motherfucker because he like burns his chest.
Yeah, and this happens like out of nowhere.
Yeah, he like lights Duncan's chest on fire, and then it like goes out, and then you see Keenan Wynn all fucking dead, and it says "paid in full," like burned into his chest. So yeah, paid in full, and that's the end of Duncan and Jack's story. Two miserable pieces of shit fucking getting their comeuppance.
I wonder what the butler guy's gonna say when he comes up and sees that imprinted in the guy's chest. Start cleaning out the safe, you think?
That's his house now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's hiding the body.
I'm decapitated now. If I was that guy, I would fucking clean that fucking house out, and then I'd go get the authorities. Do you think Duncan left anything for poor fucking Jeffrey in his will? I doubt it.
He probably doesn't even have any next of kin, so they probably would never even come looking for the body.
No, fuck him. He doesn't have a wife or anything. He's probably like one of those like, old miserable fucking loners. But yeah, so what did we all think of this episode?
I wasn't a fan of this one.
Okay.
I thought it was a little bland, and it's just lots of like, it's just basically a long, I wouldn't call it long, but it's an extended game of tit for tat, and the premise is interesting, but like the way it's just done in this episode, I didn't find it terribly thrilling. These two men, when they're just fucking prattling each other, are hilarious. So it's got some entertainment value to it. But like as far as any like investment in it, it just didn't click with me.
I liked it a lot, actually. I thought it was pretty cool. I kind of feel very differently about this, Connor. I thought it was actually pretty complex, and I liked, I mentioned this in the actual earlier part of the episode, but I liked how the protagonist-antagonist angle was constantly switching back and forth. I mean, at the end of the day, they're both shitheads that you don't really want to root for. But the constant twists and turns kind of kept it interesting for me. And it ended on a really weird note, and that's kind of been the theme on this show so far, so I guess I'm not that surprised. But having the devil come in with a fucking rose and basically telling a zombie to hand over its soul in a jar, that was pretty interesting. So yeah, I liked it.
So for me, it's like as an episode, like I know it. So I think it's a good episode, but personally, I don't like it, and I think it's just because of the characters. And it's like, yeah, they're supposed to be unlikable, just swarmy old men. But so I think that's why I'm not crazy about it. But the ending, that twist at the end, totally is so solid, and the music is as well too is just really good. And so it's a solid episode. I'm just not a fan of it.
I wouldn't say this is one of my favorites, but I do enjoy this episode a lot. I really love Keenan Wynn in this. I think I just have a soft spot for him because I just love the guy, and whenever he's on screen, I don't know. There's something about his presence that I just love. I love the idea that we have two fucking, rich assholes that literally have nothing better to do than spend money doing frivolous bullshit. He even like, oh, I'm going to buy your soul for $1 million. And it's like, the catharsis of that is that you're going to fucking hell because...
Yeah, and by the end, it's like, you don't even really feel bad for him.
No, exactly. You're kind of like, all right, devil, I see what you did. That's cool. Good.
Even with old Jack, like all sad in the corner.
Well, the thing with Jack is, I feel like a lot of characters like that you see in stories like this, where he's just about to die and he realizes that he's done all this fucked up, horrible shit his whole life, and it tries to atone for it in a day, and it doesn't work.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge after the third visit.
Exactly. When the demon comes a calling, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry. But I absolutely love the iteration of the devil in this. I'm just really into it. Like, he's some kind of fucking suave ballroom dancer with like this crazy echoey voice. This kind of seductive, suave, gothic motherfucker. He's got like a pale face and like black lipstick and shit. I don't know. I just really like it. There's something about it that I really like.
And it's like, it's so original. You can't help but kind of just be like captivated by it.
Yeah. Yeah, not one of my favorites, but definitely a good time for sure. And it's kind of like one of those classic stories, kind of slipped in there, where as Connor said, it's kind of bland in terms of there's no monsters really or super uber weird shit. But it's classic in terms of like, I guess, kind of like Chris said, like that kind of Ebenezer Scrooge type deal, sort of. And again, it's another thing of like old curmudgeon motherfuckers get their comeuppance, like we've already seen. So, we're only 3 episodes in, and we had a similar episode to the first episode. Not the same, but similar, kind of,
Although, to be fair, that was the pilot, so does that even count?
I would say it counts. Technically, it's the first episode, Trick or Treat.
Yeah. Well, let's call that episode 0.
Yeah, it is episode 0, yeah.
Setting the course for what's to come.
I'm just saying because sometimes, the pilot could be episode 1, but in this context, when it's an anthology, it's like, I wonder if they would be like, even though we did that in the pilot, it was the pilot, so who gives a shit?
Well,
true.
You know where that answer lies? In that first episode. So if nobody's heard it yet, you should go back and listen to that one first. Trick or Treat.
Talks from the Darkside, brought to you by Movie Dumpster.
Yes. So yeah, that has been, I'll give you $1 million. And until next time, I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor McGraw.
And I'm Chris Bahr.
The dark side is always there, waiting for us to enter, waiting to enter us. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight.